Hello and welcome to this video. In this video, I make a Cthulkey, and if you've heard of a Turducken, which is a turkey that has been stuffed with a duck that has been stuffed with a chicken, it's similar in that it is a turkey that has been stuffed with an octopus and has crab legs. And with all of that combined, you end up with this result. Except I blurred it, you're gonna have to wait till the end of the video to actually see the final result. Let's get into it. So with Thanksgiving being this week, I decided I would design something that is related to Thanksgiving. And I remembered that a Cthulkey is a thing. I knew about it a long time ago, and I decided, hey, that would be really fun to make. And it was. So I started off with a turkey body that's been cooked, so no feathers, no head, that sort of a thing. And I designed the body, the drumsticks, and also the wings for the turkey as like the main body of this horrible abomination. And then once the turkey body was pretty much finished, or at least the main shape of it was, I then decided to work on the crab legs just to kind of see how they would look. And since I was designing this to be 3D printed, I needed to make the crab legs thicker than they would typically be. So I worked a segment at a time on these crab legs, using references just so that way I can understand how they worked and how they moved to better reinforce that these are actually crab legs. When I was working on this, I actually forgot to hit record at this section, so unfortunately I don't have the process of the last segment of the crab leg, but it's the same process. And then once I finished up the crab leg, I added it to the part and then duplicated it just to get the necessary amount of crab legs. I then used a portion of the crab leg to work on the claw. When I said that this was a horrible abomination, I meant it. So I wanted to make the claws look humongous. Also to make it really good for 3D printing, but also to make it just a meaty claw.
Well, maybe we wouldn't sound so bad if some people didn't try to play with big meaty claws.
Now I'm just refining some of the details for the claws. If you're liking the video, please go ahead and give it a like, subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications for future videos. Next, I get working on the tentacles. By adding a circle curve and making it into the shape that you want, and then adding a path and making the geometry the shape of that circle. And then from here, it's just a matter of scaling each of the vertices to make it taper off. And then from there, moving the vertices around to create a path that you want for the tentacle to follow. And by doing all of this, you end up with an awesome tentacle. And then you just copy this around, manipulate it some more to get a group of tentacles. In order for me to refine the tentacle shape some more, and by adding those suckers to it, I need to convert the path to a mesh in order to sculpt. And then by remeshing and also manipulating a brush, I can now place those little suckers on the actual tentacle. I didn't really have a rhyme or reason on where I would place these suckers. They just ended up being placed where I wanted them to be. Instead of leaving the crab section as smooth, I decided to use a similar technique as the suckers and create a bump that I can then place around all of the crab sections, just to reinforce that it's a very sturdy crab, because I think smoother crabs are very small and tiny, whereas the ones that have bumps and spikes on them typically end up being larger sized crabs. And adding this sort of detail just made it look so much better, in my opinion, and it really started to bring everything together. And at this point, it felt like it needed something, and I didn't know quite what that was, but when I started to add eyeballs to it, it just made it better. Now I know that because the turkey's already dead and everything else is dead in there, it doesn't actually have an eye, but since this is designed for like a D&D creature, for instance, it needed an eye. And it makes it look cooler. At least I think so. And at this point, I started to get it ready for posing. I was pretty much done with everything and just needed to finalize all the origins and everything like that to get it to be easy to manipulate and just rotate in different pieces. I didn't worry about animating or anything like that or putting an armature on it. I just went ahead with grabbing and rotating each piece to better suit what I needed it to be. I wanted it to be in a mid-walking pose as it's snapping its claws at you, and I think I achieved it pretty well. I have one claw open, one claw closed, and I have the legs almost in like a moving, walking pattern. And that's pretty much it. I really liked how this came out. I'm pretty happy with it. And I even threw on some material that I've shown in some previous videos. I'm really proud with how it turned out, and I even 3D printed it. And if you want to 3D print it yourself, I did put the STL file up on my MyMiniFactory page for free. I'll put the link to that in the description below, so please check it out. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.